Good evening, everyone, and welcome. My name is Barbara Williams, and I am a member of the League of Women Voters. The League is a nonpartisan group, and one of its goals is to assist community groups to inform and educate the public on voting, current issues, and this evening, these candidates' views on school-related issues. We've invited all of the candidates that are running for Southern Lehigh School Board. I'd like to welcome the candidates that are here with us today. And I'd also like, I know it's a really busy time for you at this point. I'd like to welcome the audience members, and I'd like to thank PBS for broadcasting the forum in order to reach a wider audience. We are going to start our program. Candidates are seated in alphabetical order. We're going to start with each one giving a 1-minute opening statement. They will introduce themselves and mention the reasons that they're running for Southern Lehigh School District School Board. So, Kim, we'll start with you.
Hi, good evening. I'm Kim Jaramillo, and I want to thank the League of Women Voters and PBS 39 for hosting this forum and for all that you do for our community to keep us informed. I'm a physician, a public school graduate, and a mom of 2 Southern Lehigh students. I grew up one of 6 kids to a single mom who worked multiple jobs, and public schools truly changed my life. The teachers and support I had gave me the chance to go to college and become a doctor, and now I want to give back. I believe strong public schools are the backbone of a successful community, but our district has been held back by division and short-sighted decisions that distract from what matters most: our students and teachers. I'm running to restore respect, stability, and results, to keep great teachers, strengthen our academics, and ensure that every child feels safe, supported, and ready to learn. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Stephen?
Good evening, and thank you to the League of Women Voters and WLVT and everybody involved in putting this together. First thing I'd like to say, I just would like to acknowledge Paul Diebel, who is not here, one of the candidates. He's on a business trip out of state, and so I thought I would at least acknowledge him in my speech here. I am running for re-election. I've been on the school board for 4 years. I've been a lifelong Pennsylvania resident and Southern Lehigh, or a Lehigh Valley resident for over 30 years. And I'm running on experience. Experience matters. I'm currently board president of Southern Lehigh School District. I'm also a board member on the Bucks County Workforce Development Board. I'm also a member of the LCTI JOC. That's the board for our CTE school. Also president and CEO of a robotics and automation company in Quakertown, with national and international presence.
Thank you, Stephen. Thank you.
Okay, went quick.
Lewis.
Well, good evening, everyone. I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters and PBS for this opportunity. My name is Luis Malesio. I'm a proud parent of a young student in the district, and as a product of public education myself, I owe much of my career's foundation to the dedicated teachers who inspired and guided me along the way. I began my career with the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, and I currently work as an electrician with the United Steelworkers Union. I also serve as a shop steward and safety committee member, where I collaborate with others to identify and resolve issues related to policy, procedure, and conflict resolution. I'm running for this position because I believe every student deserves access to a high-quality education that prepares them for their future. This requires open communication between administration, educators, parents, and students. By fostering collaboration, we can make informed, fact-based decisions. My goal is to bring that spirit of cooperation and focus, always centered on student success, to every aspect of our district's work.
Thank you, Lewis. Josh?
Good evening, and again, thank you to the League of Women Voters and to PBS 39 for having us tonight. My name is Josh Rager, and I'm thrilled to be here tonight as a candidate for Southern Lehigh School Board. My wife and I moved to the greater Lehigh Valley a little over 15 years ago, and have been in the district for almost 5. We have a daughter at Liberty Bell Elementary School right now in the 3rd grade Spanish immersion program, and we love the district of Southern Lehigh. I currently work as a business development executive and a project manager for a steel pipe mill. In this position, I have to bring people together to reach goals. I have to adhere to a budget, sometimes in the tens of millions of dollars, for project purchases, and I have to listen to objections, well, objectively. I volunteer regularly at school events and did so prior to moving to the district when my wife was a teacher at Nazareth. The students' well-being and safety is one of my top priorities, in addition to ensuring teachers have the necessary support both inside and outside of the classroom, and being transparent with community members. I'm excited to listen to the community, to learn from the teachers and staff, and to lead with integrity. Thank you.
Thank you, Josh. Chris?
Thank you. Good evening, and thanks to the League of Women Voters and PBS 39 for hosting this forum here in Bethlehem. And thanks to everyone watching, both here and from home. I'm Chris Sikora, an aerospace and mechanical engineer, a Hopewell elementary parent, and a proud Southern Lehigh neighbor. In my career, I've worked with plenty of smart, passionate people who don't always agree, but the goal is always the same. Get the job done and move forward. That's exactly what this board needs right now. I'm not here to play team politics. I'm here to make independent, fact-based decisions that keep our schools moving forward, even if that means disagreeing with my friends or those who've held the loudest microphones. Like every parent, I just want my son to have great teachers, safe classrooms, and a school community that works together for the kids. Our community is tired of personal agendas and power struggles. I'm running to bring focus back to what matters most: steady leadership, respectful debate, and doing what's right for students. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. We have two Chris's sitting side by side again tonight. Last night we had two Davids. Okay, Christopher Wayock.
I want to thank the League of Women Voters and PBS for this opportunity. I'm Christopher Wayock. I've lived in the school district for 12 years. I'm a father of 3 great kids in the district. I'm a maternal fetal medicine physician who works with women and their families to help them during complex pregnancies. I've been on the school board for 4 years, and I am running independently with a proven record of success. My 4 years on the school board have shown results. No tax increase for 2 years, corrected a $2 million budget deficit to a $2 million surplus, developed long-term strategic plans during the facilities, built a new athletic stadium on time and under budget, addressed overdue facilities maintenance and improvement, including fixing the brick facade at our intermediate school, championed bringing girls wrestling to Southern Lehigh, implemented a new curriculum while hiring a new director, expanded dual enrollment, secured full-day kindergarten utilizing existing facilities, spearheaded the reemergence of the Southern Lehigh Education Foundation. I'm running for re-election to continue to build on our success, uniting our community with student-focused leadership, preparing students for the future through innovative learning and rejecting divisive politics.
Okay, thank you, Christopher. All right, Stephen, this first question will start with you. If elected, what educational challenges in the Southern Lehigh School District would you prioritize to address?
Thank you for the question. We currently have 3 challenges that we're working on. Of course, there are many, but the ones at hand at this point are our implementation of full-day kindergarten in the fall of 2026. We're heavily in the planning process, and collaboration is happening through our current staff and administration, as well as relocating our 3rd grade into the intermediate school. A lot of planning and interaction with the community. And then the third thing is artificial intelligence. We are in the process internally working on the curriculum aspects of that, as well as coming up in our October meeting, the first reading of a AI policy for the school district.
Thank you. You're bringing things up that are in future questions, so good. Okay, Lewis, what would you prioritize?
So I'm aligned with you there with the implementation of full-day kindergarten and our 3rd grade transition. We do have that as our first and foremost because it is so soon. That is our very short-term goal. But we also have to increase our non-athletic and STEAM and STEM extracurricular activities and opportunities in programs such as the Model UN or our chess club or Lego robotics, and make clear policies to create these said clubs. I believe that we should have adequate and functional technology for staff and students. Our student information technology in regards to transferring information regarding students' IEPs was an absolute disaster, and it's still a work in progress. So we do need to get on top of that, as well as our iPad functionality and availability. We need to work on our staff retention and keep that in the forefront of our minds, because without quality staff, we will start to lose our quality as a school district.
All right, thank you, Lewis. Josh?
As Stephen and Lewis said, the implementation of all-day K and the 3rd grade transition up to the IS is of utmost importance. That's taking place next year. Things that are taking place right now, though, is the IT issues and the iPad issues. There are still whole classrooms within the school district that don't have their iPads yet. And also some children who were taking the SATs were not able to complete the SATs because of issues with their iPad. We need more involvement in the IT department, as there's no head of IT currently, and it's running as a skeleton crew. Also, support for the teachers, as always. We need to make sure that the teachers have the support and the supplies that they need to teach class effectively. It's unacceptable to have teachers buying their own equipment, their own pens, pencils for the classroom. That doesn't need to be happening. We need to focus on that as well. Teacher support, IT issues, all-day K, and student achievement. And thank you.
Thank you, Josh. Chris Sikora?
Thank you again. One of the biggest priorities Southern Lehigh needs to focus on right now is rebuilding trust and stability after several years of leadership turnover and division. Families, teachers, and students have all felt that instability. So my top priority is getting the board back to focusing on what actually matters. That's supporting great teachers, strong academics, and preparing our kids for the future. And it includes strengthening STEM and trades programs so students graduate with real-world skills. That's important to me. Whether they're heading to college, technical school, or straight into the workforce. We also need to make sure our technology systems are reliable again and that teachers have the tools they need to do their jobs well. At the end of the day, my goal is simple: steady leadership, smart decisions, and a district where every student can learn, grow, and succeed.
Thank you, Chris. Christopher?
Thank you for the question. I think implementing full-day kindergarten is a top priority. I'm less concerned with actually taking kids from half-day K to full-day K. I know our teachers, we have great teachers, and our teachers can handle that. I'm most concerned with our third grade transition. We're now moving an entire third grade from the elementary school to an intermediate school. Having 3 children who went through that school felt a little bit more like a middle school. So I'm very much looking forward to ensuring that that transition is implemented properly so that we have a lower elementary school and an upper elementary school. So I'm really excited about that transition. I want to ensure that there's a successful implementation of Pennsylvania Steel's standards within our district and prioritizing the proper implementation of artificial intelligence into the curriculum. And I'm looking forward to that new policy that's coming out next Monday.
Okay, thank you. Kim?
Thank you for the question. Southern Lehigh already has incredible teachers, staff, and families. Our challenge isn't potential, it's focus. We need a board that puts student learning and long-term planning back at the center. My top priorities are teacher retention and respect. We keep great educators in our district by valuing their time, voice, and expertise, not with politics, but with support and professional trust. Academic strength. Early literacy and math need renewed focus with structured intervention and robust enrichment, as my colleagues here have mentioned, increased enrichment and after-school activities so that every child can thrive. And student well-being. We must expand access to counselors, reading specialists, and special ed services so every student is seen and supported. We also need to restore stability and transparency at the board level with committees, communication, consistency, and families and staff should feel confident that decisions are made with students in mind. That's how we rebuild trust and move our district forward.
Thank you, Kim. All right, Louis, this next question will start with you. School safety is a shared concern of all local districts, parents, and all school personnel. What specific safety concerns need to be addressed in the Southern Lehigh School District?
So when I was canvassing our community, I spoke with enough families who have either firsthand experience or third-hand experience with bullying and harassment. And unfortunately, some of these instances were race-based and not only involved students, but also involved teachers and administration. I believe our students deserve a safe environment when they walk through our doors. We have policies in place at all levels, but there is still a gap. Mental health services need to be normalized and prioritized. Our district has a need for counselors, and we do not meet recommended staffing numbers in that regard. I will support an environment where those who are bullied can seek the help they need to facilitate a safe environment. I will support programs where those who are bullying others can obtain the services they need to help them navigate what they're going through in their lives. I will also support professional development programs that help our educators identify and mitigate bullying and harassment.
Thank you. Josh?
To add on to what Lewis was saying, along with the anti-bullying that I think is one of the largest safety issues that we have in the school, is also digital safety. The bullying doesn't stop at school any longer. It goes until when the kids are home, logging into their Facebook pages, any of their social medias, Instagram, TikTok, the bullying continues there. I hear about it quite often, and it's something that needs to be addressed, not only, again, in schools, but outside of schools as well. We also need to strengthen our emergency preparedness by working together with local police and SROs to make sure that everybody's prepared if something does happen, and to get policies in place for the digital safety. And to do that, we do need to bring back the policy committee, which hasn't met in 6 months or so. All of those things are very important to me. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Josh. Chris?
Thanks for the question again. All right, when we talk about safety, I think most parents just want some plain common sense. Sure, we need locked doors, cameras, and trained staff, including SROs. I think we've got a good policy and we're doing pretty well at that. That's the baseline. But most safety really comes down to what happens inside the building every day. Teachers need to know the school will back them up when they deal with behavior issues, and kids need clear, consistent rules. If expectations change from one classroom to another, it just causes confusion. So we have to create a culture where students feel comfortable speaking up if something doesn't seem right, without feeling like they're tattling. That can be tricky. So that balance takes trust and strong relationships with adults in the building, teachers and administrators. Real safety is clear expectations, open communication, and a school community where everyone looks out for each other. That's just good sense.
Thank you, Chris. Christopher?
Safety is a non-negotiable. Safety is always our top priority, and I know that our administration takes that incredibly seriously. Thankfully, we have a wonderful relationship with our local police department, who work closely with our SROs in our district. There's excellent communication. I've seen it. I've heard of it. This is not something that is always talked about in public, and I think being on the board is a little bit different than campaigning for the board. But I know that our SROs, our administration works around the clock to ensure that they take every threat very seriously. I know they work around the clock. They're constantly monitoring things like social media threats and other to ensure that both our students and our staff, importantly, are safe in our school district.
Thank you, Christopher. Kim?
Thanks for the question. Safety has to mean more than locked doors and cameras, though. It's also about making sure that every child feels seen, supported, and secure. Excuse me. Physical safety is a non-negotiable, obviously. Our buildings, drills, and emergency plans should be reviewed regularly, and we must continue our strong partnership with local law enforcement to ensure clear communication and rapid response when it matters most. Like every parent, when I put my kids on the bus, I expect them to come home to me safe, physically and emotionally. That means strong mental health supports, consistent discipline, and a culture where students and staff trust the system keeping them safe. As a physician and a mom, I know prevention works best when we pay attention early, with counselors, connection, and care.
Thank you, Kim. Stephen?
Southern Lehigh High School District conducts regular safety assessments, and they're conducted throughout the school district. And this is one of the ways for action, continuous improvement, and other facets of security to be improved. The current facility plan addresses infrastructure improvements such as fire systems and camera improvements. One of the safety concerns we had over the years was spalling brick on our intermediate school that was neglected. Over the past 4 years, we've done a brick restoration program to prevent that from happening and have a safe facility there. And our staff and administration is very focused on safety, and they constantly meet to discuss any facet of safety and ways that we can improve it and counteract issues.
Thank you, Stephen. All right, Josh, we'll start this next question with you. Keeping in mind school board members have collective authority rather than individual, how will you work collaboratively with fellow board members on behalf of all students?
It's a great question. Thank you. And it's certainly something that has been a contentious issue at board meetings in the very recent past. I think it starts with respect. I think bringing people together, listening, not taking things personally, listening to disagreements with objectivity and not with a personal chip on your shoulder. Sitting in those school board meetings that are 4.5 hours long, that just feels like it's just name calling back and forth, gets nobody anywhere except annoyed. I think start to work together is by respecting each other's opinions, not taking things personally, and listening to those opinions objectively.
Thank you, Josh. Chris?
Thanks. Honestly, I think most people in our community just want the board to get along and get back to work. I think we can all agree on that. The power struggles and personal fights have gone on long enough. It's exhausting to watch, and it doesn't help students one bit. In my job as an engineer, I work with all kinds of people and opinions. You don't have to like everyone you work with, but you do have to respect them and find a way to move forward together. That's going to be hard sometimes, but it's possible. If I'm elected, I'll keep things simple for me. I'll listen first, keep communication open, and focus on what actually helps our students. Disagreements will happen. That's normal, but they don't have to turn into personal fights. It's time for the adults to act like adults and move this district forward together.
Christopher?
What I've heard from other candidates here is, they talk a lot about division, but actually our school board is working very well together. If anyone's paid attention over the past 6 months or so, there's bipartisan agreement in moving forward. We are really working well in a collaborative fashion. There was division really amongst one individual, and that individual was removed as president. One of my concerns, and something I would ask all voters to look at, is those candidates who seem to align with that individual, who seem to want to bring division rather than collaboration. Personally, I work very well with all members of the board, and I really see us doing nothing but positive things in now and in the near future.
Thank you, Christopher. Kim?
Thank you. As has been mentioned already, I think most parents and community members are just tired of seeing division on our school board. It's exhausting and it's distracted from the real work, supporting our students and teachers. If I'm elected, I want to help reset the tone. That means restoring respect, listening more than we talk, and creating space for real collaboration. We don't all have to agree, like Chris mentioned, but we do have to act like the grown-ups who care about the kids first. As a physician and a mom, I've learned to stay calm under pressure and focus on solutions, even when emotions run high. I'll bring that same steadiness here because our students, staff, and families deserve a board that works together, not against each other. And it's, I think, a bit coincidental that I had just addressed bullying. I think bullying on the board is also a problem, and I think, as long as we keep students and teachers at the center of our focus, we can do great things as a team to move forward.
Thank you, Kim. Okay, Stephen.
Yeah, I've been president of the board since June. I would recommend looking at the difference between the conduct and governance of board meetings over the past couple of meetings than prior to that. But nevertheless, one of the things I've put in place along with administration is professional development. This can be a great way for team building and collaboration between the board and garnering respect for one another and following protocols within meetings. The other thing is I provide regular updates to the board when I have meetings that are not inclusive of the board, because those do happen. And we are also in the process of streamlining committees so that we can have a more efficient committee structure that is more collaborative with the entire board rather than just some. And that, to me, via board workshops and other things, will continue the collaboration effort that we have. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. Okay, Louis.
So I believe that respect is crucial and complacency is not unity. I believe that we can have a careful analysis of our district's issues without being disrespectful. Unfortunately, that has not been the environment in our board meetings for the last 4 years at the very least. But we could go back several board presidents and still see that dysfunction. Focusing on the improvement of the learning experience for our students and the working environment for our educators, admin, and staff should be our priority. I remain open-minded to the approaches fellow board members will have, and if I have questions on any of its impacts, I'll ask. There will be times where, regardless of our discussion, we won't agree, but by expressing how we came to our conclusion, we'll bring transparency to our divisions and maintain a civil and cooperative environment, setting an example for the future leaders of our community.
Okay, thank you, Louis. All right, Chris, what do you see as the role of technology in education? Should the knowledge and use of artificial intelligence, AI, be incorporated into the curriculum? And how can it be incorporated into the curriculum? Or is it already incorporated into the curriculum?
Yeah, thanks. That's a great question, something I'm passionate about. Technology in schools should be about teaching students how to think, not just how to use tools. You know, we think back to calculators as an example. As an engineer, I've seen firsthand how fast AI is reshaping the world, and our students need to be prepared for that. So it was frustrating to me that Southern Lehigh has had a draft AI policy sitting on the shelf, but the policy committee wasn't meeting for the past few months. That's been wasted time when we could have been helping teachers and students adapt responsibly. So I'm glad that it's getting read here soon at a soon meeting. We should be training teachers now, setting clear guidelines, and teaching students how to use AI effectively and how to avoid being misled by it, because it sounds really good no matter what you put in there, but sometimes you can get tricked. AI can't replace teachers or critical thinking, but it's here to stay. So our district should be leading on this issue, not waiting for someone else to pick it back up.
Okay, thank you. Christopher.
I think that technology and education are intertwined. So what we've done recently is we've combined those committees, the Technology Committee and the Education Committee, to ensure that there's collaboration between those committees and ensure that technology is being utilized for education. AI is here, whether we like it or not. It is something that I think we do have to embrace in education. I am very much looking forward to having a discussion on a policy that we will be voting on next Monday. I would like to prioritize teaching students how to learn through AI, not to utilize AI as a crutch, focusing on safety and security to equip them with critical skills for the digital age. Again, AI is a tool. It will not replace our great teachers, and we have great teachers at Southern Lehigh. I think we do have to incorporate AI, but we have to do it, but we have to do it intelligently. It's going to be different at the high school than it is going to be at the middle school.
Okay, thank you, Christopher. Kim?
AI can be an incredible tool in education, not something to fear, but something to guide responsibly. Used well, it can help teachers with the busy work that takes time away from students, like grading, lesson planning, and data entry, so that they can focus more on teaching and connection. It can also personalize learning, helping students who need extra support or challenge by giving teachers better insight into a child's progress. For students with special needs or language barriers, AI can open doors to accessibility that we've never had before. But we need clear policies and safeguards to protect student data, ensure transparency, and teach kids how to use AI safely and ethically. The irony is that our current board has indefinitely suspended the policy committee, as mentioned before, leaving our district one of the only local districts without an AI policy in place. As a physician and a mom, I take safety and responsible innovation seriously. Our job is to prepare our students for the future, not to fear it, and to make sure technology works for them, not around them.
Thank you. Stephen?
Yeah, I'd like to say coincidentally, I will date myself here, but in the 80s, I wrote a paper on computers in education. So when we look forward now into 2025, it's amazing the evolution of technology. And, the first step that we've taken as a school district is to work internally on coming up with the principles and processes and curriculum for AI. It's heavily underway. And coinciding with that is this first reading of the artificial intelligence policy coming up. One of the things we did do is, Dr. Wayak said, is combine education and technology for those reasons. And finally, I would say that AI needs to be used as a tool, and it has to be taught in the curriculum to be used as a tool and not anything other than that. Students need to think on their own and have the creativity and understanding of subject matter and utilize it as a tool.
Okay, thank you, Stephen.
Mm-hmm.
Louis?
So I believe that AI is a powerful tool, and it's in so many industries, and it's not going anywhere. I also think that our students should learn how to use AI as a supplemental secondary tool, supplemental and secondary to our educators' instruction and curriculum. When I was going through my apprenticeship, it was during the beginning stages of cell phone apps, and some of the tools were extremely helpful, but my teachers emphasized that we needed to learn the fundamentals before we could try to use any of these new apps that were coming out, because they can be wrong. And the same is true with AI. It is a program that can confidently give you incorrect answers. This is called hallucinations. If a student hasn't grasped the full concept of their subject matter, they would be at risk of being inadequately educated. This would add unnecessary burden to the educators and technology department in finding a solution in the middle of an active school year. So I believe we should be very cautious.
Okay, thank you, Louis. Josh?
Thank you for the question. I'm excited to hear that there is a policy discussion happening on Monday, and I'm also excited because I hope that that means that the policy committee will be having a meeting prior to that, though I don't know about that. But yes, AI should be taught. It's here, it's already shaping our world, and it's our responsibility to prepare our students for what they'll face after high school, and they will almost certainly have to deal with AI. Teach them how to use it responsibly, as a tool, not as a crutch. Early exposure to students so they're more comfortable as they get older. They can determine whether or not the hallucinations that the AI is giving back to them, what those are, and they can recognize those. Encourage them to use it correctly. We also have to teach the teachers how to properly teach artificial intelligence and ensure that there's equitable access for all students to the artificial intelligence technology. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Josh. All right, Christopher, how does the school board balance the need to provide a quality education with the need to respond to the local taxpayer burden? What factors go into the decision to raise school taxes?
That's a great question. I'm very proud that over my 4 years, we've raised taxes twice, less than 2% each time, 2 years with no tax increases. A total of less than 1% per year. We now have the lowest tax burden in the Lehigh Valley. So I'm very proud of that. I'm also proud that we have one of the best school districts in the Lehigh Valley. So better school, more money does not equate to better schools, right? We have great people in our district. We have great teachers. We have great administrators. We have great community members. We have great parents. We have great students. Holding everyone to account, to ensure that we operate as efficiently as possible is really, the promise that I make, the promise that I've delivered on, and the promise I will continue to make. Unless absolutely necessary, we should not be raising taxes significantly at all. We owe that. We have over 23,000 taxpayers in our school district, and we have 3,000 students. So the majority of our taxpayers do not have students or family in the district.
Thank you, Christopher. Kim?
I think about school spending the same way I think about my own family's budget. We invest in what matters most, and we expect to see results. In Southern Lehigh, that means prioritizing the things that directly impact our kids. Great teachers, instructional aides, counselors, and strong academic programs. Those are the investments that keep our schools excellent and our property values high. What's been disappointing, though, is that the current board majority hasn't shown that same care with taxpayer money. They've wasted nearly $1 million on mistakes and legal payouts. And that's money that could have gone directly to classrooms, technology upgrades, or retaining great teachers. Fiscal responsibility isn't about cutting for the sake of cutting. It's about aligning dollars with outcomes, tracking progress, and being transparent about every decision. Before ever asking taxpayers for more, we should know exactly what's working, fix what's not, and earn the community's trust through honesty and results.
Thank you, Kim. Stephen?
Yeah, we've done a lot of improvements in our school district over the past 4 years. Number one, from a fiscal standpoint, 6 of the 7 years prior to my tenure were deficit spending. We now have balanced budgets. We have reduced the tax burden by not increasing taxes for 2 years straight. We've continued to continue to have a fund balance. And we've also done a significant number of improvements to our school district. All in all, we've spent $24 million in the last 4 years in improving our infrastructure. Things that were either left go or new things such as our multi-purpose stadium. We're looking at auditorium improvements. We have a library that has just come on board. And frankly, we're in a great position financially. We've done a great job on producing a balanced budget.
Okay. Thank you, Stephen. Louis?
Right. So, as a taxpayer in the district, I can't afford arbitrary tax increases. So that is just not something that I'm looking towards. We do have the lowest millage rate in the county, and we should continue that reputation because we have been excelling in giving a lot of opportunities to our students. However, we can easily lose that that standpoint when we have these payouts that go to administrators who get golden parachutes or supposedly have done a terrible job and yet have still been paid over $200,000 in a package. Right now, what our school district does in order to balance our budget in the needs and against the needs, or rather with the taxpayer burden in mind, is using zero-based budgeting, reallocating those funds every year based on the current needs of our district.
Okay. Thank you, Louis. Josh?
As a community member and taxpayer, I also don't want to pay anything more in taxes. I have better things I want to spend that money on, internally, but it's going to happen. I can agree with a lot of people. It should be minimal. As the lowest millage in the county, we should continue that. You have to, seek the balance, educational needs versus financial realities. Seek efficiencies before making tax increases. And this is where the word transparency comes in. If the taxes are raised, communicate clearly why the increase, what it was used for, and how it benefits the students, the teachers, and the community. Fiscal responsibility and responsible decision-making, as in not paying people to leave, is what's going to make the Southern Lehigh School District continue to be the lowest millage in the Lehigh County.
All right. Thank you. Chris?
Thanks. Nobody likes tax increases. I sure don't. But costs go up every year, and the real question is how we manage what we already have before even thinking about raising rates. We have to look at what's already working in our currently balanced budgets and keep that going. So I'll be transparent here. I don't have as much experience with the school budgeting process as some of my opponents. They've been on the board. I've got to recognize that. But I've been following closely this year, and I see real value in the zero-based budgeting approach. It forces the district to justify every expense every year. Annoying maybe, but still pretty smart. So as an engineer, I'm used to working with tight budgets and finding creative solutions first. So if we ever do need to raise taxes, it should only be after we've done the homework, run the numbers, cut waste, and clearly explained why.
Okay. Thank you, Chris. All right, this is kind of a follow-up money question. So, Kim, if federal or state funding is substantially reduced or eliminated, what programs might be impacted?
That's a great question because unfortunately it's our reality right now. If federal or state funding is reduced, we protect what matters most, the classroom. Core instruction, student support, and safety always come first. But I want to be clear, cutting our way forward isn't a plan. We're already living with the impact of this board majority's short-sighted cuts, from technology gaps to stretched staff, and that can't continue. We have to spend every dollar wisely and efficiently, but also be realistic. Taxes are a fact of life, and they fund the schools that protect our property values and our future workforce. Raising them should never be done lightly, but neither should we starve our district of the resources that it needs to succeed. Our responsibility is to plan carefully, invest strategically, and never accept a race to the bottom for our kids. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Kim. Stephen?
Yep. Fortunately, for Southern Lehigh, we have a very small percentage of expenditures via the funding from federal and state sources, unlike some other school districts in the region. So in the short term, we can certainly cover those expenses without any cuts to any program or anything within our current budget or curriculum. Now, and I will not sit here and predict the future as to what may or may not happen with these funds, but for the time being, there is zero impact to the school district at this particular moment.
Okay. Thank you, Stephen. Louis?
Hi. So I believe that the costs are also hidden. There are very direct costs, which would be all of our title funding. That in and of itself is a small percentage of our total budget. However, if Medicaid were to go away, there would be supplemental programs that the school would be responsible for in order to give these students some sort of health care that they would need that they would be losing from the outside. I do believe that our district is in a fortunate circumstance where we have a bit of a buffer. So I would love to see if our budget committee would be able to create a budget with a hypothetical loss of federal fundings to transparently show what the effect on the Southern Lehigh School District would be.
Okay, thank you, Louis. Josh?
Love the idea of the hypothetical budget to come out. That would be fantastic. The other thing, if these budget cuts do come, the way the budget works is there's approximately 80% of that budget is fixed costs. That's teacher salaries, administration, staff, the facilities costs. So if you're actually asking the question, if those cuts come, what's going to be impacted most are going to be those 20% that's not part of those fixed costs, part of those 80%. So you're looking at potential cuts to extracurriculars, potential cuts to sports, potential cuts to not having facility upgrades, which could impact student and student safety. If the cuts do come, that would probably be where they would be impacted the most, and hopefully they don't. Thank you.
Thank you. Josh? Chris?
Thanks. Yeah, like Stephen said, federal funding is a pretty small part of Southern Lehigh's budget, so we're in better shape there than some other school districts. We're lucky. So we could likely absorb that with some pretty careful planning. But I think the state funding cuts would be a bigger deal. That's where we'd really need to tighten our belts. But we don't know yet, so we'll have to see. For me, the funding question comes down to protecting the classrooms first, keeping great teachers, maintaining technology and safety systems like our fire alarms and stuff, and preserving programs like STEM and career readiness that give students real-world skills. If cuts do become necessary, we should focus on the basics and delay less essential spending. We'll have to make some tough choices. I see budgeting like design work. Make smart trade-offs, stay focused on priorities, and never lose sight of helping students succeed.
Okay, thank you. Christopher?
Thank you. As Stephen said, we are a wealthy district. We do not rely significantly at all on federal or state funding. Now, that's a blessing and it's a curse because the burden, the financial burden is on our taxpayers. So I think that leads to the more important question that you asked previously. For our district in particular is, being good stewards of taxpayer dollars. I'm a fiscal conservative. I'd safeguard the essentials, core programs, special education, K through 12 math, reading, career technical education. They would be protected. I'd form a lean budget task force to cut waste. I would see where we could, eliminate redundant administrative roles. Or overpriced contracts. We could potentially save the amount that we're getting from state and federal funds just by doing that. Okay. Certainly, any non-essential extracurriculars would also be on the chopping block.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Stephen, you've alluded, many of you, to the all-day kindergarten program. So most of you are for it. What are the challenges in implementing that for the next school year, 2026, 2027?
Yeah, we've been working very, very hard in the past months on ensuring that we have the proper mix of work and play with an all-day kindergarten curriculum. Students are young. They get tired much more quickly, and so it's very important for us to have the right mix of playtime and and learning. So that's one of the key areas that we've been working on. We're fortunate in that from a budgetary standpoint, unlike some of the other school districts, we have the facilities and infrastructure to implement this very quickly without having to add on to buildings or things of that nature. So we have that as a fortunate. The next thing would be the staffing and realigning the staffing properly, as well as moving third grade into the intermediate school. That's probably the other big piece of this, to make sure that we have a cohesive learning experience for third graders, even though it's in the intermediate school. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. Louis?
So for full-day kindergarten's implementation, some of the challenges that we were facing in the summer when a lot of parents came together and expressed the third grade transition, it was with the totality in mind. So proper funding to have the playground upgraded in the IS when we move our third graders over to transition there, and manageable and appropriate class sizes, being prepared for the growing population, because our population, I mean, the developments are coming up left, right, and center. So we have to be ready for that. And we do have some scenarios where we have what are called balloon years, where we see the population of students rise in an atypical manner. We also need to make sure that we have our appropriate reading materials transferred from the elementary schools into the IS. And with that, the library has the adequate space and materials. So with doing that, we will have more space in the library in the elementary schools for the younger grades.
Okay, thank you, Louis. Josh?
And on top of that, it's not just transferring the books. There's going to need to be a lot of new books purchased as well. You know, not just third grade books. If there are children that are down in the elementary schools that have a higher reading level, we need to replace those books that have been removed. And likely in the intermediate school, if there are children in third grade that have a lower reading level, we would need to replace those books as well. Also, the facilities will need to be upgraded. Playground equipment that is appropriate for younger children at the IS. And transportation, making sure that the bus lines are able to handle the new routes, getting them to the correct school. And again, following up on what Louis had said, the class sizes, making sure that the children are in the appropriate size of class and the teacher is fully prepared and can teach effectively with those class sizes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Josh. Chris?
Thanks. When it comes to the realignment plans, especially moving third grade to the intermediate school, I think a lot of families are uneasy. People want to know how this will work, what it'll cost, and whether that transition plans are truly what's best for our kids. I've heard from parents who already feel their fourth graders, quote, grow up too fast when they move to the intermediate school, and they worry that putting third graders there could make that even tougher. So I understand that concern, and I'm trying to learn more about it as I go through this campaign. I'm glad to hear that Dr. Wayak has heard that concern as well, because planning isn't waiting on this election to happen. You know, it's going on right now through October, November, and December. But for me, when making any big change, I want to look carefully at the data, timelines, and impact on students and teachers. So I really just think we got to make sure we're solving problems, not creating new ones.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Christopher?
I for one, really appreciate this question, because it really speaks to specifically what's going on in our district. This is not a really new discussion. I think both Stephen and I mentioned to our superintendent at the time, looking towards implementing full-day kindergarten 4 years ago. So there's been a lot of behind-the-scenes work going on, and we have over 18 months. We have had over 18 months to prepare. I know our administration has done a great job over the summer with preparation. I think two of the biggest challenges are the number of teachers and number of staff. We compete with some of the Catholic schools for kindergarten and some other private schools for kindergarten. So not knowing that, but we have contingency plans in place. Moving to the IS, I think what Mr. Sikora had said, again, I mentioned it earlier, that's one of I think the biggest challenges. But I actually look at it as a great opportunity. As Mr. Sikora said, there have been concerns. I had concerns for my own children about the intermediate school being more like a middle school, but now it's going to be more like an elementary school. So I'm really looking forward to that improving our district.
Okay. Thank you. Kim?
Yes, thank you. For those of you not in the know, Southern Lehigh is entering an exciting but a critical transition, which means implementing full-day kindergarten from half-day kindergarten and moving third grade from 2 separate elementary schools combined into 1 new building. Done well, this can strengthen our entire district, but done poorly, it can cause real disruption. My vision is to make this a smooth, student-centered transition built on planning, transparency, and teamwork. That's why I'm incredibly proud to be serving on the Culture and Climate Committee for 3rd grade, chosen by the principal of the intermediate school, and working alongside all of the hardworking community members and parents who have worked really, really hard to make this happen over the last 20 years. My vision is to make it a smooth and student-centered transition, like I said, ensuring that our youngest learners have the space, staff, and resources they need, and communicating early and clearly with families so no one feels left out of the process. We also need to treat this as part of a long-term facilities staffing plan, not a one-year shuffle. These changes will affect transportation, special education services, and class sizes for years to come. So careful coordination matters.
Thank you, Kim. All right, I have a lot of good questions here yet, but we're running out of time. So we're going to start with a closing statement. We'll do it in reverse order. So Christopher?
Great. Again, I want to thank you for this opportunity. On November 4th, I would ask our community to vote for proven leadership. Governing is about delivering results, not promises. Over the past 4 years, I have helped getting our kids back to school, back to normalcy after COVID, faster than any other district. Low taxes, stronger curriculum, more student opportunities, dual enrollment, a new stadium, significant investment in facilities, bipartisan collaboration, Southern Lehigh Education Foundation. I will work to keep Southern Lehigh united and thriving. What I have heard here tonight from my opponents is nothing but negativity. And I really, hope that our voters are seeing that. We have a great district. We have a lot of great things going on. There is a difference between leading and campaigning. As a leader, you have to make difficult decisions. We have a great district, and we're only moving in a positive direction. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Christopher. Chris?
Thank you again to the League of Women Voters and PBS 39 for giving our community a chance to hear from the candidates. I'm running for Southern Lehigh because I think Southern Lehigh deserves a school board that focuses on students and educators. I'm not joining any faction. I'm an engineer, a parent, and a problem solver who believes we can get more done when we listen, ask questions, and build on common ground. Our district needs to prepare every student for the world ahead, whether that means college, trade school, or careers in science, technology, and engineering. That's the future I want Southern Lehigh leading, not following. I'm happy to see that our board has more recently been getting back to work. It's great to hear that an AI policy is getting read publicly soon. That's news to me tonight. My name is Chris Sikora, and I'd be honored to earn your vote on November 4th so we can just move Southern Lehigh forward together.
Thank you, Chris. Josh?
Thank you again to the League of Women Voters and to PBS for your time and commitment to education. Thank you to everyone who's taken the time to talk with me during my campaign so far, to get to know me a little bit better and to allow me to get to know you a little bit better. And thank you to our public educators and parents. I wouldn't have the skills I have today if it wasn't for your guidance. A school board is not a single person. It's a team of 9 elected officials, a team that has a job of listening to the community, staff, and students and guiding the school. When all members of the board respect each other and are open to different opinions without taking things personally, they can pull in the same direction to reach the desired goal, and some truly amazing things can be accomplished. I bring with me 15+ years of experience, bringing together project teams that have individuals with different opinions to achieve outstanding goals. In order to do that, I leave politics at the door and come to the table with a commitment to listening, a desire to collaborate, and a need to do what is right for the teachers and students to thrive. My name is Josh Rager. On Election Day, I ask for your vote and our partnership to help move our district forward.
Thank you, Josh. Lewis?
Thank you. I'd like to thank the League, PBS, and to all the volunteers who have been helping us and continue to help us. Thank you to all of the community members who took time out of their day to express their experiences with the district and what they would like to see in the future. It's not easy opening up to someone you've never met, and I greatly appreciate your time and perspectives. A functioning school board is a team, along with the superintendent, with the goal of the best educational experience we can give our students. It's listening to our educators when they express their needs and obstacles. It's listening to our faculty members when equipment is at risk of failure and should be properly prioritized. It's listening to our students and responding to any hindrances they have to a positive learning environment. It's listening to our community and effectively using their feedback to identify anything we may miss on the board level. This is the holistic approach Kim, Chris Sikora, Josh, and I will bring, if elected, to the Southern Lehigh District.
Okay, thank you. Louis, Stephen?
Thank you to everybody who's listening tonight. I really have one major point. Experience matters. Over the past 4 years, Dr. Wayak and I have been working with the school board to build infrastructure. We have a new stadium that had been in the works for years. We are just completing a revamped library learning center that will meet the 21st century needs of our school district. We've spent $24 million in facility improvements over the past 4 years. 6 out of 7 years of deficit spending now are thwarted. The last 2 years, 0% tax increase. Curriculum, we've revamped our curriculum from K through 6 and then the second phase of 7 through 12. We've significantly expanded and improved our dual enrollment options for students of affordability and transitions from high school to college learning. We've also expanded our AP options. We've now, since June, started professional development that should be an ongoing process through our board, ongoing into the future. So as we continue to build our staffing back at the administration level, we have a very cohesive and talented team. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. Kimberly?
Thank you again to the League and PBS for hosting this event and for all that you do to promote civic engagement and strengthen our communities. Serving on the school board is both a privilege and a responsibility to every student, parent, teacher, and taxpayer. I'm a physician, a mom, a proud public school graduate, and a community volunteer who has spent years working inside our schools. I've seen firsthand the dedication of our educators and the hopes of our families. If elected, I'll work tirelessly to ensure our budget is transparent, our classrooms are supported, and our board earns back the public's trust. Strong schools build strong communities, and together we can make Southern Lehigh a place where every student and every family can thrive. I'd be honored to earn your vote, your trust, and your partnership in this work. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Okay, there are some important dates to remember, so let me go over those. October 20th is the last day to register to vote. All registration forms must be in the voter registration office by 4 p.m., so please pass the word. October 28th is the last day to file an application for a mail-in or an absentee ballot to the Board of Elections, and that has to be in by 5 o'clock. Of course, November 4th is Election Day. Polls are open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Also, it's the last day to receive any mail-in ballots to the Board of Elections by 8 o'clock in the evening. To get more information on candidates, the League puts out the Voters Guide, and that will be in the morning call on October 23rd, as well as being available in community libraries. You can also find it on our League's website, which is lwvlehighcounty.org. And the other two places you can find information on the candidates are Vote 411 and vote.pa.gov. Good luck to all the candidates, and have a good rest of your evening.